you're the king, you know it. King already, you know it. Top everything we know it. King already, you know it. My body so on a king body. Body gon' shine, bling bling body. Calling all the shots, ring body. Crown on your head, got a king body. You're a king, you know it.
Just want the people to see. This is what 3 months look like on her head. Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Berlin. On today's video, we are talking about if you are struggling with alopecia or thyroid issue, this video is definitely for you. My client suffered from both, and this is how her lock journey is going. So let's get into this video, and we're gonna discuss her journey and how everything is going. So let's talk about a little bit about your journey. So how's it going?
I love it. I've been wanting sister locks obviously for years. But one thing or another, never did it until August of this year. I bit the bullet and he was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I like how convenient it is. I like the look of them. I mean, I love it. I'm not going back.
Do you notice like any changes in your hair and stuff like that?
Yeah, so remember my first concern was how thin my hair was. I was like, I want my locks to look full. I want them to look full. Because I think I personally have thin hair. Like the texture is not the full, vibrant. And so I've realized since being 3 months locked, it's not as thin as I thought it was going to be. It's
not
thickened out. So yeah, that surprised me.
But from the beginning, I told you.
I know you told me from the get-go.
You don't have thin hair like you think you do.
I swear up and down.
Thin hair.
I swear up and down that my locks are gonna be super thin. They're gonna have spaces in between. It's gonna be nothing but scalp. No.
Do you remember how many inches your hair?
It was short. It wasn't even 4 inches in some parts.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I think I measured you at least 4 inches was the longest.
Yeah, it was
in some areas. Okay.
Yeah.
So being that your hair is short, so how are you doing as far as like washing your hair? Are you able to braid and band it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For the most part, when I wash the hair, two things. I either twist them tight and then rubber band, or I braid them in sections, braid them or twist them, and then put the rubber bands at the end and then wash them. And then at night, most of the time, it's either braided in like big, straight back braids, or if I'm lazy and I haven't had the chance to braid it, I just wrap it in my, scarf and then lay down. But it's always tied down for the most part.
Man, I'm happy to see your progress at 3 months. I can't wait to see what it looks like at 6 months.
I just need it to continue to do what it needs to do and grow and thinking out and all that. So. And
you haven't been adding any products, right?
I've been pretty much just wetting it.
Okay.
That's the extent. I have been adding
your medication shampoo.
Yes.
Okay.
The medication that I'm on for the alopecia.
Okay.
I've been adding that obviously. And then I still use the shampoo that you gave me. So I've been using it for 3 months now. I'm literally using it until it finishes.
I get a lot of client with concern about like locking their hair with alopecia and stuff like that. And I feel like as long as like you're seeing your dermatologist regularly, you should be just fine.
She loved it. So I go see the dermatologist twice a year.
Black dermatologist.
It's a black dermatologist. And so the last time I saw her was back in February of this year. So obviously she hasn't seen my hair locked. So I went to an appointment in October and she was just like, I like these. And she loved them. That's good. She saw the growth too, so.
Yes. It's the growth for me.
It's the growth for me. It's the fullness,
it's the
thickness.
Fullness for me.
Listen, when I told you I was so scared, I was like, oh, it's gonna be so thin. It's gonna be scalp-like.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And that's not at all for real.
Not.
Not
Sometimes
at all.
I even think, is it too full? Like, I'm like,
oh no! So now we
I
got
know,
a
because it's
problem.
like I mean, though it's short, it still gives like in certain areas.
You know, it has to kind of grow out
I know.
before it can go
before it
down.
drops.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm waiting for. Is the drop.
So you go from being concerned that your hair is thin to now you feel like it's too,
because obviously it hasn't dropped yet.
Yeah.
So it's just like this. It feels like a fro sometimes, especially after I braid down and I unbraid and then unravel it, and it's just like my hair is like that. But yeah,
okay,
not thin at all. Now it's just the back because of my hair texture. Because obviously my hair texture is different in certain parts. So it's like now it's just how do we get the back and tamed.
Well, we're gonna get the back together. It's just gonna take a little time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna take a little time, but we're gonna work together and it's gonna be fine. Yep. So what advice would you give to someone that's thinking about locking their hair, that feel like they have thin hair or they have alopecia and stuff? What advice would you give them?
Well, for the alopecia, I would absolutely say go see a doctor.
Yes.
So for me, it started off with, funny enough, I usually go in between braids and a sew-in or a wig.
Okay.
I remember this was last year, I got in braids. This was early. I got in braids, and for some reason my scalp was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, it must be like the material in the hair or something, like, right? I mean, my scalp was just always itchy, and it was like almost as if it was burning. And then I got to a point where I had to take the braids down because my scalp was just, it was only after having it for a month, it just got progressively worse. I was like, yeah, this is not normal. And then I took the hair down, and then a month after that, I started seeing bald spots.
Oh my
I'm just
gosh.
like, and they were in patches.
Mm-hmm.
They were small, but they were noticed. Like, I mean, it's my hair. I can notice. I was like, oh, why is there no hair here? I'm like, at first I was like, did I cut it? But I'm like, no, it was actually bald. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, oh, you must have cut it by accident. It was literally skin.
Wow.
And it was in two places, mostly in the crown. And so I thought it was hormones. I thought, diet, stress, all of this, thinking of other things besides alopecia.
Mm-hmm.
But then it started to get progressively worse.
Wow.
I started seeing that my hair, mostly in my crown, was very thin. Like, my sides are usually longer and fuller and thicker, and I started noticing that the crown just was super thin. Mm-hmm. It wasn't giving the fullness. When I was washing my hair, I felt like it was just super thin. I was like, okay, this is not normal. Maybe it is hormones or something, but obviously I need to go get it checked out. Went to the dermatologist. She looked at my skin and we talked, and she's like, yeah, it seems as if you're suffering from symptoms of alopecia. And from what she said, there's no real, and I'm not a dermatologist, but from what she explained it, there's no real, you can't pinpoint exactly what's causing the alopecia. It could be diet. It could be hormones. It could be hereditary, right? There's so many, it could be a skin condition. There's so many different things. So it's like hard to pinpoint exactly what's causing. It could be tight braids. Yeah, because I used to rock the braids and the sew-ins. You know how you want it to lay down flat, and so you get the braids real tight and all that. Mm-hmm. So it could be any of these. And so she was like, it's really hard to pinpoint what exactly is causing your alopecia. Mm-hmm. And then add to that fact that I also had thyroid issues. So, I'm dealing with thyroid issues and alopecia. So she worked with me in giving me like a regimen of medication and things to do to bring my hair back. Mm-hmm. And so I stopped doing the braids. I stopped doing the sew-ins and mostly just did wigs. Or I would braid my own hair down and just wrap it in a turban, or or put a hat on if I had to run a quick errand. But I stopped doing the braids. I stopped doing the sew-ins and just anything does not put tension basically on my scalp.
Yeah.
And then I started to see with that and the medication and, you know, some slight changes in diet that my hair started to come back. And like the areas where it was completely bald, some of the hair started to grow back. It wasn't quite at the length of the other hair, but I could see that it was growing back.
Yeah.
And I was like, progress is progress. I'll take it. But then at that point, I was thinking, let me just lock my hair. Because I was also frustrated. I was like...
Yeah, because I was going to ask, at what point did you decide, you know what, let me just go ahead and lock my hair?
I mean, I wanted to lock my hair for years. I have family members who have beautiful, you know, locks. None of them are sister locks. Most of them are just, you know, regular locks. And it's always interesting, but I was always afraid of, what if I want to change my hairstyle? You know, what if I want to throw a wig on? Or what if I want straight hair and all this stuff? So, but last year... And then at the beginning of this year, with all of my hair issues, and I was doing the whole turban, hat, wig lifestyle, I was exhausted. I was like, I need something more permanent that I, you know, don't have to do much, and it won't have a lot of tension. That was my for me, it was like, I don't want anything with tension, right? And so I started looking for a loctician earlier this year, but to be honest, and in all due respect, a lot of them were either fully booked or the prices were just outrageous. And so I stopped the search. I was like, you know what, I can't find anybody. And in the summer, I'd say July, I got the itch again, but this time it was real bad. I went to visit a friend in St. Louis. She has sister locks, and I just fell in love with them all over again. And so I came back to Atlanta. I was like, I have to find a loctician. She recommended a few people, but again, they were fully booked or they were no longer accepting new clients. And I happened to fall on your, honestly, I don't even know how. I think I searched like Atlanta locticians, and I spent nights scrolling through people's pages, looking at their styles, looking at their content, looking at customer reviews. Like I did a ton of YouTube videos. I mean, the search was on, and then I landed on your page. And what attracted to me with your page was not only the content, but the education aspect of it as well. I can't remember what video I saw. I remember you were doing like the test braids, like you did like the twist. I think you did the braid, and then I think you did the interlocking.
Yeah.
And then I saw another video where you like showed the progress, and you were commenting on something, and I was like, let me reach out to you. So I DM'd you, and then you told me all about the process, and I was like, yep, I'm gonna do it. And the fact that you told me you had an appointment available so soon and so quickly, I think that for me was like, if I don't do it now, if not now, then when? And so, yeah, I booked the appointment and never looked back.
And I've only been able to like really book people like that because I'm doing it with another consultant. Because before I just closed my books. Yeah. It was just too
everybody
much.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
A lot of people were booked, or
to do an install, you're spending about 2 days on somebody's head.
Yeah.
So when Kedma and I get together, it's about 6 hours, 4 hours, depending on the length and stuff like that. How long did it take us to?
It took y'all like 4 or 5 hours max. Okay. And the 5 hours was just me asking a ton of questions and you answering, but y'all were like on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
On it. And I ask a lot of questions, and I think for me too, that was also why I chose you, because I knew I needed somebody where I felt like I could ask the questions openly and not feel that, you know, oh no, I can't ask the questions, or they, you know how people can be just non-approachable or not professional. So with you, opposite. I told you about my concerns. I told you about my alopecia. I told you about my thyroid, and you're like, oh, it's gonna grow. I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. But I did not believe you. I did not. At the beginning, when you first locked the hair, obviously it's nothing but scalp. I was like, what did I get myself into?
And look at your hair now.
Look at me now. And then you said, funny enough, you said after the first wash, I will never forget. You said after the first wash, you will see. And you're absolutely right.
Big difference, right?
Big difference. Like the install and all you see is scalp, it's gonna, like, oh my gosh, what did I do? But after that first wash, it starts to settle in.
I'm gonna find a video. I'm gonna find some pictures of your installs.
Yeah.
So go ahead and link it with this video. Yeah. So guys, so if you guys are concerned about locking your hair,
and you have,
here's proof.
yeah, if you have alopecia issues, thyroid issues, because with the thyroid too, that can also make your hair thinner. You could, loss of hair. So I had all of these things going against me, and I still decided to lock, and I have no regrets.
I just tell people, make sure you are seeing a dermatologist, and then from there, the dermatologists do their part, and then I'll go ahead and do my part.
Absolutely.
But you have to see a dermatologist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Here we are.
What, 4 months in? 3 months
3
in?
months in. And you are in love with your hair.
I am in love with my hair. And so is my dermatologist.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, no, she was pleasantly surprised, and she has seen obviously the worst of it. And so from when I saw her in October, it's already 2 months, and she could see the growth.
So how often are you seeing her?
So I see her twice a year.
Okay.
So last time I saw her was in February of this year. Second time I saw her was in October. So I'll see her again in February of next year.
Okay.
And so obviously, right, that long period of time of her not seeing me,
and then
seeing the locks and seeing the progress, and she was just like, yeah, pleasantly surprised. Yeah, I didn't tell her I was getting this done. So it was no.
Once again, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and comment down below, and share.